The American University of Rome has offered students the opportunity of traveling to Ghana for 2 weeks every January since 2004. These trips, led by Dr. James Walston, allow students to earn college credit while studying Ghana's history, culture, and politics firsthand. Students hear lectures from prominent Ghanaians, attend cultural events, and visit historical sites. The program is broken into 4 major sections. The first covers Ghana's history since colonization and the slave trade. The second, consolidation of democracy. The third, international relations. And the fourth, economy and development. Ghana is a small country, about the size of Oregon, located in West Africa. It has a population of around 23 million, similar to the population of New York State. Ghana has many different ethnic groups, including Ga, Ewe, and Asante, and just as many languages. The official language is English, a result of British colonization. The major religion in Ghana is Christianity, followed by Islam and traditional religions. Ghana gained its independence from Britain in 1957 and is now considered a model of democracy for the rest of Africa. The lecturers who came to speak to the group ranged from writers to professors to current and previous members of Ghana's government. According to Ghanaian students participating in the class, the guests coming to speak were the sort of people they heard about in class or read about in their history books. Under any other circumstance, these were people they never would have met. Joseph Anomabu has been Ghana's ambassador to Hungary and to the International Atomic Energy Agency. When he came to speak to the group, he began by giving an introduction to Ghana's history, and then described his experiences in the Ghanaian government and as a political prisoner. Poet and writer Elmina writes in English because she is not fluent enough in her native Ghanaian language to write in it. The language one writes in is the language one is taught in, and most Ghanaians are taught in English. However, Ghanaians do not need to speak English to be literate, according to Busia. Ghanaian literacy includes music, dance, the symbolism of cloth, and other traditional forms. KB Asante has been an ambassador for Ghana and a minister in the Ghanaian government. He also helped to write Ghana's current constitution. Asante discussed good governance, trade, and foreign policy.
In Ghana, Professor Nelson observed that as economic crisis deepened after the First Republic, I quote, the politicians tribalized the state to serve their private as well as tribal ends. Political competition for power was increasingly dictated by material gains for individual politicians and their tribal associates. Ordinary citizens were the most adversely affected by this kind of self-seeking and tribal politics. End of quotation. Events in Kenya make thinking Ghanaians sit up and try to put their house in order so that similar situations may not occur here.
Professor Irene Dote spoke at length about chieftaincy in Ghana and the dualism of traditional and modern forms of government and governance. She described the role of the Queen Mother in traditional Ghanaian society, the differences between pater and matrilineal tribes, and the impact of Britain's colonial rule on Ghana's government. Ghana was part of the transatlantic slave trade, and the proof of Ghana's involvement can be seen in the string of slave castles which remain standing on Ghana's coast. The slave castles were used to house slaves before the Middle Passage by ship from Africa to the Americas. Fort William, which was built in the 17th century, is the only castle which was built expressly for the purpose of housing slaves. The Elmina slave castle outside Cape Coast is another example. Elmina was originally built as a trading post and subsequently became used for the slave trade and later as a government building. Near the entrance of the castle is a plaque which reads, "In everlasting memory of the anguish of our ancestors, may those who died rest in peace, may those who return find their roots, may humanity never again perpetrate such injustice against humanity. We the living vow to uphold this." In the words of Dr. James Walston, Visiting the castles is an experience which everyone should go through. In 2007, Ghana celebrated 50 years of independence. In those 50 years, Ghana has become a model of democracy for the rest of Africa. At the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, the presenter spoke about the upcoming December 2008 elections. He said that elections in Ghana have little chance of mimicking the violence following Kenya's most recent elections. In general, the mood towards democracy in Ghana seems to be optimistic. Ghana's economy was entirely controlled by the British during Ghana's colonial period, and the effect of that control can still be seen today. Ghana exported raw materials such as cocoa and industrial diamonds and imported finished products. While Ghana was one of the main exporters of cocoa, there was not a single chocolate factory within the country. Today, that is changing. Industry in Ghana is growing, and Ghanaian-made chocolate can actually be found. One of Ghana's current exports is pineapple. Beaumart's exports pineapple primarily to Italy and Switzerland, and their pineapples can be found in supermarkets in Rome. AUR's Ghana program is full of cultural experiences. These range from book launchings to boat tours to evenings of live reggae at Big Millie's. Students have the opportunity to spend time in Accra, Ghana's capital, and elsewhere interacting and making friends with the locals. In 2008, students had the additional opportunity to attend a game of the Africa Cup of Nations, which was held in Accra. At the launching of the Artists Alliance Art Gallery, Kofi Annan was the keynote speaker. Mr. Annan was formerly the Secretary General of the United Nations and is from Ghana. A few of the students had the opportunity to shake his hand following the ceremony, and all were able to hear his speech.
And in some societies, or in some communities, a man is judged by his individual achievement. But in others, a man's standing in society depends on what he does for that society. And I think if we use that measure, Glover is a giant, and he's done a lot for this society.
Each year, the trip visits the Cape Coast School for the Deaf in Cape Coast. The school offers basic education and vocational training to deaf children in the hope of equipping them to be active members of society. A large part of Cape Deaf's program is agricultural, and the school has various units where the students learn how to take care of animals and grow crops. Thanks to funding raised by the group who went to Ghana in 2007, Cape Deaf now has a poultry unit. The 2008 group was able to visit the unit, and there has been discussion of raising funds for another unit at Cape Deaf. One of the first nights in Ghana, the 2008 group was able to attend a book launching. The book was a collection of photographs of Ghana by 2 American photographers, and the American ambassador officially launched the book. One of the most interesting parts of the ceremony was listening to praises of the ambassador in Tree, a local language, by a young Ghanaian.
Pamela Bridgewater, Oye American inti America niabika nananoma mufresi kesi mpomprami America wongen tengutu ebutu wa menyasaso osi esumbre bia na esuna nkoturuku esuna siapa na esuna chenchana esuna kura na esuna butukura na esuna kura kurun esuna Pamela ketwa na esuna Pamela kuma na esuna Bridgewater kurun
Another field trip was to Kakum National Forest, which is a rainforest in Ghana. Kakum boasts one of only 3 canopy walks in the world, and the group was able to visit the museum, go through the canopy walk, and enjoy fresh coconut and palm wine at the end. In addition to being a tourist attraction, Kakum is working to spread awareness of how to conserve the rainforest and acts as a wildlife preserve. The Ghana program offered by AUR offers a unique and fascinating experience to students. The program is open to students from the American University of Rome, John Cabot University, and Ghana. And for the first time in 2008, the program offered an archaeology practicum in addition to the political science course. Students are able to really learn a bit about what Ghana is and experience a taste of West African life and culture. Students who have participated in the trip seldom have complaints. Instead, they return to Rome with new friends, lots of photographs, and perhaps a new